Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Today's surah, inshallah, will be about Surah Al-Infitar. Before we start about explaining Surah Al-Infitar, I just need to remind you about, very, very important surah. We need to understand the difference between Mecca and the Madani surahs. So the differentiation between the surahs in the content is most of them Mecca surahs, especially in Juz Amma, the majority of the Juz, could be 98% is Mecca surah, Quran that revealed before migration. So it represents the base of Islam. So just talk about believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the unification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no partners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe basically about the Day of Judgment, to believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to believe in the angels. For that reason, brothers and sisters, you will find the repetition of, because it's important. Okay, so you find the repetition of the same object. So, for example, we have al-infitar, al-inshiqaq, al-sakha, al-ghashiyah, al-zalzala, and so on, so on, so on, so. It's just in one juz, just talking about the same subject, which is the Day of Judgment. And we have a lot of surahs that it's not about the Day of Judgment, but by the end it will be concluded. So I'm just talking about, mutaffifin, like in the before surah. And the surah dragging you to the same subject, to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the outcome if you don't believe in the last day, or if you don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So today, inshallah, we will talk about Al-Infitar. Al-Infitar, splitting. This surah, basically talking about, the Day of Judgment. As we explained before, everything you come up with, it will be upside down in that day. I will explain. So each surah of the following surah talking about one aspect of that. For example, Surah Al-Zalzala talking about the Day of Judgment. So the Day of Al-Zalzala means the Day of the Judgment, because it's talking about, the earthquake. The earthquake is the Al-Zalzala. So the day of the earthquake, it means it's the same. For example, if you say the beard teacher or the Egyptian teacher, it's the same. The white teacher, okay? The bald teacher, it's about, the Arabic teacher. It's just for the same person. So as more as this person has a characteristics, as more as you will have a numerous names, more than various names. The Day of Judgment is a horrible day. So for a very important day. So for that reason, it has a lot of characteristics. So it has a lot of names. So each surah talking about one aspect. So if there will be a judgment, so it's the Day of Judgment. If will be earthquake, so it will be the day of earthquake. So there will be infitar, which means splitting. So that will be the day of splitting. So every item that we come up with, familiar with, it will be upside down. So we have a flat sky, so it will be split. We have a fixed earth, so it will be start shaking. We have, fixed mountains, it start moving. We have harsh mountain, it will be fluffy. We have lighting stars and lighting moon, lighting sun, all of them will disappear. And they start moving from their placement. For that reason, each surah, as I told you, talking about the Day of Judgment from that perspective. So the surah, the day of Surah Al-Zalzala, talking about the Day of Judgment from the earthquake perspective. So Surah Al-Infitar is talking about the splitting perspective of the sky. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you, if you when that day comes and you find the sky is splitted, and the stars scattered in the whole universe, and there will be explosion, and the ocean start boiling. So, and also you find the graves start, coming out. So that, we usually, the earth is swallowing the dead people. So the earth start, vomiting the dead people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling me, when you find this day, you will know what did you miss and what did you bring forward. Because this station is just for collecting a lot of hasanat, then you send it forward. In that day, when you meet these events, in this case, you will realize what did you brought forward and what did you miss. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you that the man is always will be deceived or be attracted by something, by this life, and he is always forget about the last day. And by the end, the whole measurement, the whole scale must be with iman. For example, your work, your life, your marriage, your trade, your work, everything must be in that scale. For example, if I'm trading in something haram, okay, so I don't say this one gives me a lot of money, so it's acceptable in the trade. But this is not acceptable in the Islam, because this gives you a lot of sins. So you have to scale your trade with iman. You have to scale your, for example, your way of dealing, your way, for example, of if you need to marry a woman, for example. So don't go to a bad woman, she is not controlled by Islam, say this is my woman. So it is not forbidden, but it gives you that makes you a lot of terrible. So you're wasting your iman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the conclusion, so you got the whole money, you got the all beautiful woman, you got the finest job in the world, you become emperor. But this is okay. We need to scale this in the scale of iman, because if you are not doing well, okay, by the end, so you'll find the pious people go to the Jannah. Oh, not the rich, not with high position, okay, not with the royal family. You will find pious people go to the Jannah. You will find disbelievers and non-pious people go to the hell. They go to the hell. So and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you, for that reason we have angels, they recording everything you're doing. So you have to watch out your deeds, because you will go back in that day, and that day will be owned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will organize that day, and He is the one who's judging people and judging all of the creatures in that day. So we can understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the day of judgment from splitting of the sky and the events that will come in this day. So you have to be careful about it. And what's above all, you have to judge everything with iman, because that's how it's going to be scaled has going to be weighted in the day of judgment. For example, I got a job, so I got the job, but I missed my prayer. I got the job, but I missed my hijab for that. So you got the job and you wasted your iman. So in that day you start thinking, it was a fashionable, it wasn't real. But the only thing you do in this life, when you be biased to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's how it works. Everything is recorded, and by the end we will scale your deeds. If it's good, you will be biased, so you go to Jannah. If it's not going well, so you go to the hell. And you have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your life, because you're coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will be the director of that day. That was for Sourat Alenfetar. Jazakumullah khairan for your listening, and see you inshallah in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.